Uneducated, unfiltered, unhinged. This is the Mangina Dialogues. We at it again with your host Nick Scopes and the Gregolicious. You know how we do, cause you know we keeping it gangster and silly. Unplugged like a full swung titty. Bout get jitty, cause you know we down to the nitty and the gritty. And we make shit sound so damn pretty. Yeah, cause this unhinged comedy. And right now you're in the mix. So get ready, cause we about to get it poppin'. And we ain't stopping. Uneducated, unfiltered, unhinged.
Hello and welcome to the Mangina Dialogues podcast. I am your host, Nick Scopes.
And I have officially dropped the nickname, and it's just straight Greg Alperin from here.
Oh my God. Incredible. It only took him 50 years. Okay.
At 123 episodes.
Yeah. Finally dropped it. We'll fill you in a second, Esther. Our guest today is the very funny Ester Steinberg, who also holds a world record for the biggest baby in Tampa, Florida.
Thank you. Woohoo! I hold the record for my big baby in Tampa.
Go Bandits or Buccaneers.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Go Bucs, baby. I mean, people are really hyped about Tom Brady.
Yeah.
He's incredible, man. This is going to be his 10th Super Bowl that he's been in.
I think he picked the worst team in the worst city to be like, if these people can win, it's me. I'm the factor.
Yeah.
It really, I mean, yeah.
It's just a way to prove
that. Yeah.
That you pick the shitty team and you win the Super Bowl with that shit team. I'm in a pool right now, and because I don't even like to do pools, but I did a pool, and I'm in first place because I bet on Tampa Bay.
Good for you. Are you a big football fan?
No, but I like the joy that it brings
If you're winning.
people. I mean, I think it's like cute and fun, and there's like good spirited celebration. I just like everything but the game.
I love women's explanations of sports. It's like, do you like football? They're like, no, I just like the mascots or like
the helmet.
I like jerseys. I'm wearing a jersey. Like it's
what do you got? Oh, Marlins.
Cute.
Right.
It's like, oh, she's cute. She likes sports. Okay, there are some women who love sports, and I am absolutely the opposite. I am a woman who secretly hates it, but likes the fun. The
tailgate.
Yeah.
That's like I remember this vividly. My college girlfriend. I'm a New York Giants fan, and we were watching Giants versus the Cardinals. And we were watching, and Arizona scored a touchdown, and she goes, "Oh my God, the bird team scored!"
Yeah, basically.
And I'll never forget. I was like, "What?"
I used to Google like whoever's on the field. I would take their names like Google and be like, "They did this, they did that, they cheated on their wife, and beat their dog," and I would just ruin the game for everyone. I don't do that anymore. Except, no.
So, you're from Tampa. Like you grew up in Tampa.
I grew up in Tampa. I was the only Jew here.
So that was my follow-up. You're the only Jew there.
I am curious about what it's like growing up in Tampa, Florida. Like Florida super intrigues me about people that are from Florida, like grew up in Florida. Like what that is like, because when you think of Florida, Tampa has its own thing. Like the Tampa, Clearwater, all that. Those places are like they're their own world, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you then go to Orlando, and
fuck Orlando.
That is the worst place on earth.
Thank you. Tampa and Orlando are feuding.
They call it the happiest place on earth. It's the fucking worst place on earth.
I mean,
Orlando,
it's miserable.
It is terrible. But like, when did you leave Tampa?
I left Tampa when I was 18, and to be perfectly honest, I had a very adorable upbringing. I had it just feels like a small town in the South. It feels like a football town. I was a cheerleader. I had all these friends that were like adorable and blonde, and everyone was like studying to go to UF or FSU. And like, then they move back home and have a bunch of kids, and it just seems very simple. But for some reason, I just had big dreams for myself. And I was like, I'm going to live in New York and I'm better than you. And I'm sophisticated. And I just totally took on this persona like in high school that I was going to be a New Yorker and I'm better than Florida. But now that I'm like old, I'm 30, I'm like, Tampa's a great town. It's got the beach. I just like making fun of how bad the education is and how dumb the people are. And you know.
Yeah, it's I don't know why it's funny. I have a friend, a very good family friend that went to University of Tampa, and he's in like the Tampa College Sports Hall of Fame and stuff, and
That's
constantly
nice.
will send me a thing. Oh, they're having a Hall of Fame thing at University of Tampa, and I'm like, that's great.
Yeah.
But and I mean, it is cool, but like, what makes Tampa different from, say, Miami? I mean, it's a beach town. Right. So like
Tampa's history is amazing. It was all started by Jose Gaspar, who's a pirate, and hence the entire city is pirate themed. And there is everyone's obsessed with pirates, like to a point where you're like, what the hell's going on? And then there's this huge Gasparilla parade, which is like Mardi Gras, where like millions of people go out in the streets and like flash their titties. And a couple of things that like are streamlined in Tampa, which is like the love of pirates, the love of titties. Like the love of titties goes so deep in this town, whether it's like, it's just a titty town. I think the plastic surgery is like outrageous. Like
Titty Tampa.
Tampa loves titties and titties love Tampa. And then Tampa is where titties go to get a job. And then on top of that.
No, that's Clearwater. Clearwater is where titties go to get a job, not Tampa.
And then it's, kind of strung out, pilled out, a little drunk by the beach. So I feel like a real tipsy mood, 5 o'clock somewhere. And then you have got pirates, but it was all started by pirates, which means that they embody like this rebellion, like anti-system. I don't know, whatever pirates stand for.
That's Tampa.
Yeah. And they're like, we're going to get our treasure. They're really, and then, there's the snootier parts, or they think they're like rich and snooty. And you're like, you're in Tampa, relax. Like they really think that they're like rich and fancy. And I'm like, but you're not, you're in Tampa.
Right. Well, you just sold Nick on coming to Tampa.
Magic Mike took place in Tampa, right?
Yeah. I mean, I would love
movie.
if Channing Tatum would like come back. I feel like the strippers are, subpar. Although they're probably going to ship in all the best strippers for the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
I'm on my way down.
They've gotten all the strippers vaccinated early to make sure.
Hey, they're first responders and they are essential workers. It's definitely in Tampa. They are essential workers. I mean, It's a titty town. We just figured out.
It is. It's pretty drunk. And it was fun growing up and being like, let's throw a house party. Let's get in trouble. It had a Dylan Panthers Friday Night Lights, like a tinge of that in my high school.
Well, the USFL team that was, the short-lived football league from the mid 80s, the Tampa Bay team was the Tampa Bay Bandits.
Weird. But still outlaws.
Total outlaws.
We're rebels.
Ride or die. Mm-hmm. So why are you back in Tampa?
Because I have a baby, which is nuts. I never really wanted a baby, and now I have a baby.
The biggest one.
It's so much work, and I literally don't trust anyone. I mean, it's COVID, so I can't just like dump him off at a preschool, especially since he's 7 months old. So I'm using my parents. And I'm also avoiding the cold weather because I was in New York, in Brooklyn, in a 2-bedroom apartment, and my apartment's amazing, except for if you have to be there.
Right.
Like New York apartments were not meant to be lived in. They were meant to be, you sleep, you wake up and you do your thing. Yeah. And I'm just like, oh, fuck, we have to stay inside of this apartment. And so we just made the decision, let's go down and live in a house in Florida near my mom, not too close, like 20 minutes. Right. And so she babysits all the time and she loves it and she's doing great and I'm doing great. And my grandparents are all 90 years old. I have 3 grandparents and they're old as hell. So I'm kind of using this time to, connect with my family and get free babysitting.
That's awesome. That's cool. So you guys rented a place. You're not staying with your parents.
Yeah. And it's like a friend's place, which is perfect because no lease, no like, yeah, I can't, I don't think I could put my name on a lease and be like, I don't know when I'm going to leave when I get sick of it.
I would imagine like if you were staying with your parents, that would be very funny. That would be like a sitcom you'd have because your husband's very tall.
Very tall.
And you've got this big baby.
Huge.
and then parents.
You could drop him off at a preschool. He looks like he's 3.
I know. We could just say he's 3, but kind of
3.
Yeah, but it's really crazy. My dad is really enjoying having male energy because he has 3 daughters.
Right.
And so he's just loving having a son-in-law and he talks sports with, and then he has an infant to take care of.
Is your dad a big sports guy? Does he like?
He loves the Gators and the Buccaneers and he likes the Tampa. He's like a Tampa boy.
Right.
I make fun of him because I'm like, you've never left Tampa. Like he went to school at UF. I'm like, you're such a stereotypical frat boy from Gainesville.
Right. That's funny. Well, you got to give it to him because if he's stuck with the Bucs this entire time, right?
Yes.
They were obviously the worst team in football and sports for many, many years. And then they had a short run where they were great, went to Super Bowl. And
Keyshawn
then
Johnson.
Yeah, right. Gruden.
With Warren Sapp and Gruden.
Yes.
That was a year.
Great few years of football and then completely sucked again. And now they get Tom fucking Brady and they're in the Super Bowl. Like he's got to be the most psyched guy around. All those fans.
He's so happy and it's offensive because I got married, I had a baby, and like I've still never seen my father this happy.
Did he buy the baby a Brady jersey yet?
No, I don't think that's coming. The problem with buying the baby clothes is he grows out of them in 2 days.
Oh, he should just buy him a full-on jersey, put him in it, and be like, "Oh, the kid's getting ready."
That's what we should do. Yeah, Brady jersey.
We
should absolutely get one. We should all get one.
I actually told my son the other day. I'm like, I today will root harder for Tom Brady than I've ever rooted for probably any individual football player in my life, just because it pisses me off so much that these New England fans, like all of a sudden he leaves and now they're all Tampa Bay fans. It's like they forgot that they are these diehard Patriots fans. And it's like now Tom TB12 is over there. Like we got to go get our TB12 jersey. Ugh, it drives me fucking crazy.
Well, it's either that or they hate him now. And they're like, he's the worst. So it's like, dude, he won you guys all the Super Bowls. 6 of them, I think he won.
I have not found one person that I know who's a Patriots fan that's talked shit about Tom Brady.
I know a handful that hate him now.
Good. I don't like him either. Just kidding.
Like, guys, we're not in the Marines. Like, he was on a sports team. You never met him.
I just don't like the Patriots. Anyway, good luck to you and your father for the Super Bowl.
Good luck to my dad. Yeah, he's gonna have such a good year.
I do think that they will. I really think that Brady will pull this out for them. It's just inevitable. It's like
I think so too. I think they're on a roll, and there's no question they're gonna win.
Yeah. Plus, Mahomes is hurt, and they had a great game yesterday. But
I'm gonna make $212 off this pool.
Wow,
hands down, no question.
Big money.
Then you can retire.
Yeah, done. Who needs that comedy special money?
Just stay in Florida. Get rid of that apartment in New York. Just retire. Stay in Florida.
Honestly, the houses are pretty cheap.
I'm sure the houses there are cheaper than apartments in New York.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like by like half.
Lots of zeros.
You can get like a 4-bedroom house for $300,000.
Yeah, that's it.
So let's talk about your comedy special. Let's talk about how you got started in comedy, right? So you leave Tampa, you go to college.
I was really into stand-up because my dad had completely brainwashed me. He did comedy in the 80s, like with Jeff Foxworthy and Sinbad when they were like,
No way.
Florida was very popular and it was like a comedy boom and there was like a comedy place every block. I guess that's how it was described in the late 80s. And then by the time I was like 16 or 17, it was like I was totally brainwashed to be really obsessed with comedy and I loved it. And so I started to do it in Tampa, like during high school. And I thought it was like, I'm trying this out. It's stand-up comedy. And it was really weird, like 17-year-old girl doing comedy. But I did it at Side Splitters, which now I know it's like the worst place ever to perform stand-up. But it was my first place. And I got a job there as a door girl. And I interacted with all these different comedians. And it was such a great learning experience.
That's it.
That was a good PC answer. I like that. You should be a politician. That was good.
I know. I was like, instead of me touring the entire comedy community, I'll just say I learned a lot.
We won't ask any further questions.
Nothing happened, but everything happened. I felt like I witnessed everything. I felt like I grew up like 100 years in the year and a half that I worked at Side Splitters.
So like, who were some of those comedic influences for you?
Lynn Koplitz came and destroyed 7 shows in a row. And I just loved her so much. I remember being really obsessed with like Dave Attell and back in the day and George Carlin albums. I remember loving Harmful and Swallowed, like Dane Cook. Like these are like things that got me excited about stand-up. It was a very exciting time. Like Sarah Silverman, Jesus is Magic. And I liked Ellen and I liked, there was a lot of exciting comedy happening. Now I feel like it's a little overwhelming.
Yeah.
Does anyone feel like there's so much comedy? But I feel like it was like Margaret Cho and Ellen and Sarah Silverman and Chappelle and Chappelle's show was happening. And I don't know, it was a good time to be like really obsessed with comedy and then just be like, oh, I'll do it. Oh, it's so cool that I'm different. And now I'm like, oh no, every single comedian is a semi-attractive, semi-young woman. I feel like there's nothing more common than a semi-attractive, semi-young female doing comedy.
Bring back the old fat guys.
Yeah, seriously. Can we get an old white guy?
Come on, Nick. Find some old white guys.
I'm trying to age as quick as I can.
I guess there's only like 2 of them, Brian Callen and Joey Diaz.
Performing at Side Splitters this weekend.
Together on the Me Too tour.
That would be great. Phenomenal.
Just whatever. That's pretty funny. That is actually, you don't really hear that. We haven't heard it that often. You know, we've interviewed 150 people over the course of the last year and a half. I don't think anyone has been like, oh yeah, I was doing stand-up at comedy clubs at 17, you know, in a big city. I don't think. And
I really had a goal to like, you know, get on TV. And luckily, I mean, there were moments, but I think luckily I didn't like make it really big, really young, because then it's a whole vibe and it's a whole shtick that I'm like, I'm so young and I'm funny and I'm putting on a fake Southern accent. But I'm looking back, I was really thirsty to be like, I want to get that TV spot. But now I'm like, okay, I want a career. I want a long career where I'm just performing and touring. And I don't need anyone thinking, God, I'm so over that girl and be 30. And like anyone in their 20s is annoying anyways. So I'm glad that I'm not permanently.
No comment. So you moved to New York.
And I went to NYU and studied theater.
Yep.
Oh, wow. You went full right in.
I was my only way of going to New York because everyone wanted me to go to UF. And I really like was obsessed with studying and getting straight A's. And I was like a promising young woman in theaters. Right. And then I was like, okay, I'll go to like NYU seemed like the right place for a aspiring actress, but really I just used it as a stomping ground to do stand up.
Because not a lot of Jewish girls come to New York City.
No, they're already there.
Long Island's got a thing.
Yeah, but I'm so different. I really am, because you've got like Miami girls and they're
I know.
all Miami'd out,
Totally.
and then you got the Long Island, and then it's like there are no Jews in Tampa, so no one could really put me in a box. They're like, you're a trashy Jew, and I'm like, I'm not trashy, but I'm super comfortable with a trashy environment. Like I am the most me in a back, 2 doors down from a Comedy Club.
It's like I grew up in northern Jersey, where there's obviously a ton of Jews, right?
Yeah.
And if I was ever anywhere and there was a girl that was Jewish that was from like the Jersey Shore, it was like, really? The Jersey Shore? Like, I didn't know that happened down there, right?
Well, I was the token.
Yeah.
I had to really own the Judaism because I was the token amongst a sea of wasps, which I think was good for me, that I wasn't just like a billion Jews and here I am. I don't think there are a billion Jews, but not if we gathered all of them up. But there's like 9 million. And anyways, I'm glad I was the token. And I was like, I'm going to teach you guys about Hanukkah. And it was kind of fun.
Is that when you started doing, or where you got the performance bug to do like the videos that you do, that you have and that you've done? Because those are hysterical. I was watching some of those and in tears. The one I would watch, most of the ones that were on your website, and there were 2 in particular that just completely are spot on. And me and Nick constantly makes fun of Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
That Brooklyn video, was, I mean, he hasn't seen it yet, dead on. But the one that spoke to me the most was the J-Date one, where you played like the 6 different versions of the Jewish girls, right?
Yes.
And there was one, and the only people that even get the Persian one are people that have spent a lot of time in Los Angeles.
Yes. And that was me coming to LA and being like, honestly, where do I fit in? I'm a Tampa Jew. And everyone was like, well, you're kind of Persian, aren't you? And I'm like, sure. And I dated a couple Persian guys. I'm like, sure, I'm Persian. I'm not Persian.
Right. No.
Persian is a thing.
It's a thing.
I was like, I dressed up as Jasmine for Halloween. Like, no, it goes beyond that.
I dressed up as Jasmine.
And so I guess I tried on Persian for size, and I was like, not quite. And then it's like you meet all these Jews that are in power positions at CAA or whatever. And I was like, that's not me either. And then, I had to go through there's the wandering hippie Jewish girl. And then there's the annoying one who really wants to get married and can't stop talking about all of her friends who just got married.
Yep.
That one I know very well.
Oh my gosh, that's so interesting. Yeah, my friend who just got engaged. Yeah, it's really exciting. Like,
I'm a bridesmaid. She wrote me this cute letter and asked me to be her maid of honor, and I was like, sure,
yeah. and then I found
exactly what you're talking about.
I was the dirty Jewish girl comedian.
My favorite, I was telling Greg earlier, was the nagging mom.
Mm-hmm.
When it's like, you should just, my grandmother used to say shit like that. It was haunting. Like, you should just like it's just access to anything. You're like, you should just go on SNL. It's like, oh sure, let me call them up.
I can't believe somehow becoming a Jewish parent forces you to say words like you should be on SNL like 30 times a day. And someone needs to there should be a campaign to be like, shut up about SNL.
Yeah, it's like I've heard stories of there was one guy who I listened to this podcast. He was talking about how his mom was like, you should be Batman for the movie. He's like, yeah, let me make a fucking call and I'll figure it out. It was Brendan Schaub from Fighter and the Kid. His mom's like, why aren't you Batman? You're big and athletic. He's like, Mom, that's not. There's Christian Bale. There's other legit actors.
I have to say, I remember we learned this in acting school and it came up recently. If they want a hot girl, they're going to go with a professional hot girl where when she walks in the room, angels cry. Right. If they being the industry will get exactly what they want. So if they want, it's not going to be you. It's going to be someone way better looking if they're going for good looking. If they're going for something else, then it's crazy. But my mom is now, I don't know, she's been trained to like get excited about nothing. I'm like, Mom, I just put out a podcast. She's like, oh, it's amazing.
That's a good
Yo.
mom. That's a supportive mom.
Yeah, that's nice.
There was a while where it was like, SNL.
My dad asked me once a week, he's like, that thing you do, the podcast, you make any money? Or I'm like, not really, man. I just kind of, and he's like, what's the point? And I was like,
you should be like, to get on SNL, I'm making phone calls.
Yeah.
Just fielding the phone calls. All right. So you're at NYU. How much comedy did you do in New York City at that time?
I think a lot of comedy, and then I graduated early. I think the first couple months that I was there, I really tried to just avoid comedy because I was a little nervous and I was really entrenched in all the gay men that I was around, really testing their sexuality. I'm like, are you certain you're gay? So every
I have
night,
a test. I have this test.
Every night I was just running lines with a guy who, I felt like there was some wiggle room in his sexuality. And
it's funny because I had a few guy friends that played the same game on me. They're like, we kind of feel like there's a little wiggle room with you. And I'm like, I'm telling you right now, there's no wiggle room. They did their best. And Nick has been going at it for, I don't know, 2 years now. Still no wiggle room, buddy.
I'll wiggle you. Right?
Everyone's got a little wiggle room.
It's true.
It's what I learned in college. Thank God I spent all that money. And so, after like first semester or something, I decided I was going to do shows at Caroline's. They were like bringer shows, which I tell people never to do. But it gave me confidence to just be on stage in New York City. And then I was like, I'm never going to do a bringer show again. I think I did like 3 of them. And I'm like, never, ever again. And I told myself, I don't care if I'm doing open mics till I'm 80 years old. I'm not doing a bringer show.
Why? Just curious.
Okay. Because it feels like pyramid scheme. You get to do 5 minutes, but you need to bring 15 people. Okay. I brought 15 people. They all spent $20. They all bought 2 drinks. Now they're paying $50 or $60. And there's all these people. Okay, well, do you want to come next week and bring 15 more people? So I was getting people to spend so much money. I wasn't getting paid and I was doing 5 to 10 minutes. So I could convince a couple of family members from New Jersey or like friends from college, but I was asking them to spend a whole lot of money. I wasn't getting paid and I didn't feel like there was any growth.
Right. I was just curious if there was that's of course, a lot of people feel the same way about bringer shows.
But it gave me, like the ones that I did give me confidence and I got a tape.
Yep.
So I was I wasn't going to get a tape at Caroline's without this bringer. So, the first couple of times were fine. And then I just hit the ground running with every open mic. And I went to Eastville like every single day. I would sign up at Eastville and perform there and try to get up. And then my world kind of became bigger and bigger and trying to get up. I mean, I remember there was a open mic at the Pit on Tuesday night and it was like rapid fire, 3 minutes. And it was just every cool comic in town doing 3 minutes.
Right.
And then they would like light you and yell at you if you went over and it was like, bring your A game.
Yeah, that's rough.
It was really good. It was rough, but it was like people, I mean, I remember Michelle Wolf doing those 3 minutes and Dan St. Germain and, Mike Lawrence, and they were killing it in 3 minutes. And it was like, that's what it was a high bar. It was a good group of people. I mean, I don't remember.
You push each other, right?
Yeah.
So, it's like you want to, comedians, of course, never want to see their good friends, or at least outwardly do well. You want to make sure you do better than they do. So, it's like if you're getting 3 minutes of rapid fire, you want to make sure you go up and bring the same heat that they brought.
Yes, and you're performing for your peers who are super judgmental. So if you're getting laughs from these assholes, like you're gonna do great. And then I feel like it's the opposite of LA at the time because I visited LA and like did some sets and I felt like people were rambling a little, like humorously rambling. And I felt like in New York, it's like the real estate. It's like you have 3 minutes, do 5 jokes.
Right.
boom, 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 and then get out. And that was like, that was the skill that everyone wanted to see, the
Sure.
writing. And
Sure.
you're like, and then in LA, I felt like people were kind of working out characters at the time.
Yeah. Well, they're all trying to get TV shows.
Yeah. And but it was so perfectly, very LA and very New York.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you ever find with doing open mics, when there's just comics there, do you find that you'll do jokes there and they'll work, and then you try them on a show and not so much because comics are a little bit more fucked up? You know what I mean? Like you try, like I see it all the time, even at the open mics here
Yeah.
in Connecticut. Like they'll do some like raunchy, whatever, ridiculous joke, and the comics are like, woo, laughing their ass off, and they do it in a show. And it's
Yeah,
fucking nothing.
absolutely. And it's like the back of the room. Okay. So that worked for them. But I think New York a little bit stays. Does it work for comedians? Okay, it'll work for the city of New York.
Yeah.
But I think exiting New York, because for some reason, everyone in New York is like a little bit of a comedy mind. Like they can take a lot of fucks and a lot of every boundary you want to push. I think the average New Yorker can handle, but then
Yeah.
you leave New York and they're like, why are you only talking about anal sex? I am so confused. Like I really feel like some of the dirtiest, nastiest stuff that gets open micers like losing their minds.
Well, we've seen that too. I've seen that too. People from New York it's Connecticut. We're Southern Connecticut. We're, an hour from the city, even less, whatever. But they come here and they're like, they're just talking about like, oh my God, so my vibrator broke the other day. And like, there's a couple moms in the back, like 45-year-old blonde hot moms that came in a Mercedes. They're like, I don't care about this, huh? Like, fuck this lady,
and then they go home and listen to like wet ass pussy really loud. So.
They're like, make a TikTok with my daughter.
Yeah. Like I'm offended. And then they twerk.
Miss some wet ass pussy.
But do you think that, like, especially in the city, like depending on the room and then what time you're like going on, has a substantial difference in the material that you could or would do? Like the downtown stuff is different than the uptown stuff, and the west side, the east side, like, because it's such a different community in each of those places.
Yeah. And then you get, okay, this room is all tourists. Okay,
Right.
this room is all college students.
Yeah.
Like 2-for-1 drinks. Like
Yep.
I feel like I see that with New York Comedy Club. Like there'll be like college nights and like a little broy. And I'm like, I'm gonna deliver my feminist agenda. Okay, that worked really well in Williamsburg, but like they're not feeling it in the meat packing, not the meat packing, Murray Hill.
Yeah.
And then, I think overall you have to just do you.
Yeah.
But I definitely feel like every neighborhood has a different vibe. I mean, the Upper West Side is its own thing. And
Totally.
and then the later the show, the more people are willing to like let loose. It's crazy. And it's just such a psyche thing of being like, it's midnight. Of course, talk about your pussy.
Yeah, of course.
It's like,
What
it's
else
5
could you do at
p.m.
12:30?
Yeah, it's 5 p.m., young lady.
Have some respect for yourself.
Yeah, it's like, I think that people's, they clench their butts. You just have to roll with it and then get your paycheck. I'm not a comic who's just like, okay, I'll do whatever I fucking want. I'm like, I'll do whatever I can make money. Give me money.
Right.
Oh,
So-
you want me to do it clean? Okay, great. I'll pull out some annoying.
Yeah,
things.
I hear stories of comics talking about how they hate corporate gigs, and like some comics that get to a level where they'll probably never have to do them again, right? But you hear like other guys. I think I heard Brian Callen talking about this. He's doing a corporate gig. He's like, yeah, they wanted to give me like 20 grand. He's like, I did it, but I fucking hated it. And I was like, they gave you $20,000.
Yeah, and it's just like,
Just
what's
do it.
your
Just fucking-
reference though? I mean, if you're so rich that $20,000 is just something you can turn away, then awesome. But for me, I'm like, I need that.
Just I'll do whatever you need. Like it's not like Kevin Hart would say no to that. Clearly, right?
Nick would change his Grinder profile for $20,000.
I'll change my gender for a sandwich and $10.
Sloppy
Yeah.
Joe. All right, so let's talk about your comedy special. It's coming out March 30th.
Mm-hmm.
That's like in a month or a
I'm
half.
very excited because we filmed it. It felt like
Ages ago.
It felt like ages ago because we were in a pandemic, and we filmed it in July, and like I don't know. It just felt like the end of time, and it was so weird. Oh my God, we're doing comedy in the apocalypse.
Right.
And now the apocalypse has become our new normal. And here
Yeah.
we are on Zoom.
But those shows looked like they were awesome, right? Like in the
They were
Rose
unreal.
Bowl, like huge stage, amazing light. I mean,
so
it was really dope looking. Like
It
really
was
looked like a good
amazing. I
time.
kind of felt like Britney Spears because I had the screen behind me.
Yeah.
Like I have never been on stage with a huge, like a projection that was 100 times my size behind me.
Right.
That was cool. I just wish I was a little skinnier.
But wait, so that must have been
the fattest I've ever been.
So
And
that
it
was like a month after you had a baby.
6 weeks postpartum.
Yeah.
So I
damn.
said,
Well, don't be so hard on yourself. You just gave birth to a human being.
I know, but it's really the one opportunity I can be like, God, I'm such a fat.
Listen, you gave birth to a linebacker.
I know. I gave birth to whatever's going to win the Super Bowl in
I think he's going to play. They're going to suit him up, I think, right?
He'll warm the bench, but it's still a big deal for a Jew to be out there.
That's not a sports agent or in the back office or whatever. Front office.
But it was exciting. And at first they were like, we're doing the special. I believe it was supposed to be April. And I was going to be like 9 months pregnant and I couldn't wait. I was going to have a pregnancy special. And then they let me know that they are canceling it due to a little novel COVID Chinese Wuhan virus. And back when it was the China virus.
Right.
And then, then we were going to do it in July. So I was like, awesome. I'll be 6 months postpartum. Okay. The pregnancy special has been done. Okay. It's been done. We've seen it. Pregnant women telling jokes, but a postpartum drive-through COVID special. Now that is original.
No one's done that, and hopefully never happen again.
Yeah.
So how was it? Like, first, how did you get it? Right. So like they did 4 comedians, right? They taped 4 specials, not the same day.
Comedy Dynamics did my album Hebrew School Dropout, and I loved what they were able to do with it. They had it on a lot of Sirius XM and Spotify and Pandora. I mean, whatever. I was very happy with Comedy Dynamics, and I loved having them. I did my album at Punchline in San Francisco, so I was so happy. And then a year or so later, I've got all these I'm fat and pregnant jokes that I got, and I was like, I want to do another album, and they were like, okay. And then they came back and were like, what about a special? And I'm like, that sounds fantastic. So this was like all pre-pandemic. And I was like, I'm going to do a pregnancy special. And then it became this drive-through, and that freaked me out because that means that I never performed my special in front of human beings.
Yeah.
And again, this is like something I had to explain to my mom. I was like, Mom, when people prepare for specials, they go to 100 different cities on like Aziz Ansari goes on his tour bus and does 100 or something cities, and then they perform their comedy and do at least two shows. And I was like, Mom, I'm going to be performing this 0 times. And I made jokes. I was like, I'll practice in front of a parking lot. Like, I got this. But I had to do it in front of cars, and the cars were amazing. And the one thing I kept asking, I was like, will I hear the laughs? And they did something amazing. And I have to give it up for sound engineers of the century. They put microphones in a certain amount of cars. I don't know how many, let's say like 40 cars of the 300 cars. And then they played the feedback up to me on stage so I could hear the laughter inside of cars.
Wow.
That's cool. Did you hear anyone talking to each other in their cars?
I didn't hear anyone talking, but I definitely heard like oh my God, really? Like there was a couple of reactions, but there was a lot of dogs. There was like several dog cutaways.
Wow.
I think people were happy. They were in their cars. They were hitting bongs. I saw someone smoke out of a bong, and then they had their dogs with them, and they were like watching comedy from the trunk, or, they made it like it felt very Grease.
Yeah.
Grease
I mean, all the pictures I saw from it just made me jealous that I couldn't get out there to go to one of them. And it just looked visually awesome. So I can't wait to see what it looks like on, when it comes out in a couple months. I mean, it's going to be awesome.
So many cameras and rigs and drones. And I was just like, I honestly was so happy to have left the house.
Yeah, right.
I
How did
was
you
so-
practice for it? Like, did you do Zoom stuff?
I did. It was kind of before I felt like Zoom was happening, maybe
Yeah.
a little bit. But yeah, I did 4 Zoom shows, and one of them was just for my husband's 2 sisters
Right.
who have good laughs. And I was like, I need you to just, it's literally 3-person Zoom, and I'm going to go through the whole album. And then I did one where I had people,
Right.
like probably like 60 people watching on Zoom. It's so annoying when people mute on Zoom. I understand why you're muting on Zoom. I get it. You want to mute yourself. But I find it really frustrating because I'm like, I need feedback. This is why I asked you to be on a Zoom call, or else I would just tell these jokes to my computer screen.
Did you run it with your husband?
Yes. And I did it like it was a monologue. It was embarrassing to even admit, like, I ran it like it was a play and I was studying Shakespeare.
Yeah.
And I am not someone who likes to do that. I like to perform something so many times that it's in my bones.
Right.
And then I'm playing around on stage. And instead I was like, oh no, I have to memorize this.
Yes.
Like it's a play, because I am getting 0 times to practice. And then one time we went on a walk with the baby, and again, like 6-week-old child was screaming and crying. And I was like, I'm gonna kill myself. I was like struggling with the baby crying so annoying and so loud, and just trying to rehearse. So I think if you can perform jokes over screaming baby, you can do it to Cars.
Yeah, you can do it to Cars and put out a special.
Yeah, like what is life? But the one thing I was really proud of myself, I had an incident on the plane ride over, and I told this story, and I don't know where I got this confidence. I think it was the pandemic energy. I'm like, who cares?
Right.
And so I just winged an entire chunk, and it was probably my favorite part of the special.
Oh, wow. And is it in? Did they?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And it was about I was on the plane, and they, because of COVID, didn't have any food whatsoever.
Right.
On the plane, and I was freaking out. I was starving, and it's a 6-hour flight.
That's terrible.
And I had to pump and drink my own breast milk. And that means that some dude on the plane watched a woman in a mask pump and drink her own food. That made me feel.
Stop.
Well, Esther, it was good talking to you.
I swear I'm not even like a granola mommy. Like, I would never have done that, but I needed nourishment.
So you really did that? That's a true story?
Absolutely. I was starving. I was starving, and I was hormonal, and my boobs were hurting because I had to pump them. By the way, coming from Tampa, the whole like booby, titty, nipple, like,
right.
It's so very Tampa to talk about titties, and it's so very motherhood. And it all came together.
On that flight from Tampa to LA.
I was like, I've seen women flash my whole life. Like, I can whip out a boob, pump some milk, and drink it.
Did you freak the guy out sitting next to you?
I mean, I'm sure I did.
Like, I've been on a lot of planes and seen a lot of things, and I've not seen that one yet. And I mean, I've seen people, of course, like breastfeeding their child.
Yeah, no, I didn't even have a kid with me. I was a woman without a child, just drinking my own milk.
Do not know what I would do if I'm sitting on a flight and the woman next to me just starts milking herself and then drinks it. I would swear to fucking God that I was being punked, and that there is cameras someplace waiting for me to throw a fucking shit fit.
What if she was like, I'm sorry, I'm being rude. Do you want some?
You'd have to ask that question. Like, how did you not ask him if he wanted to share some?
There were a couple seats over, but in general, I mean,
that is a good time all around for so many different reasons.
It was fun. And then that's the kind of joke that I'm proud of, because it was a little shameful to admit, but I think that the payoff was nice.
Oh my God. I can't wait to see that on the special.
Yeah. And I don't know why I'm going to harp on this. I was pumping at the time and like breastfeeding. And so I wore this low cut dress for my special because I had this huge belly and my legs were huge and everything was not what I wanted it to look like.
Right.
So the only way that I knew how to look good was to distract everyone with just the largest tits on the planet.
Story of my life.
Honestly, that was like my outfit choice was I'm just going to put on Spanx and then just drape the titties out and like tell some jokes. And I'm actually like, I don't look skinny. I don't look super like hot girl, but I look so voluptuous. So I'm hoping that, that'll sell some.
What's the special called?
It's called Burning Bush.
Oh my God. That's great. That's so fucking good. I don't know what's better, the breast milk story or this is phenomenal.
Well, it's so, I tried to make it really, really be about what was going on in my life in this small section of, I got married, I got pregnant on my wedding night, had the baby in the middle of a pandemic. And I wanted to, I talk about like COVID and being pregnant. I talk about like worrying about my perineum like breaking open.
What when you told Brian, did you and Brian have like a Zoom sit down meeting about like, all right, we're gonna now come up with a funny title for this, and then did you just be like, this is what we're gonna call it? Like, what was his reaction?
No, it was no one. The funny thing is, no one, I don't know if people know how to handle me. People don't even have a conversation with me. I just send emails being like, and this is the name of it, and I'm going to do this. And they're like, okay, fine. And I think that they are scared of me. They're like, this is the crazy girl who drinks her breast milk. Yeah, let's not say anything. And we'll just.
Whatever you want. It's fine.
But it came from. It was because one of my jokes is that my son's name is Moses because he entered the world through a burning bush.
Right.
And I felt like that joke got a good amount of laughs. And I felt like, all right, that's the title. And the first album was Hebrew School Dropout. So I do feel like Burning Bush, right? Burning Bush kind of is the
tradition.
I've graduated to a.
Did you have a bat mitzvah?
Absolutely. Okay. Ask me my theme.
What's your theme?
Hollywood.
Wait,
I thought it was gonna be Tampa titties.
Did everybody get a little like Oscar award as a gift?
No, we did like a fake red carpet, and I think I really wanted to just be like a Joan Rivers, like interviewing people on the red carpet, but it was so cheesy. Like every little girl is like, I don't know about everyone, but the lame girls are like, my theme is Hollywood because I want to be a star. And now looking back, it probably should have been like more West Hollywood or like maybe Los Feliz, like not Hollywood.
The WeHo version of a bat mitzvah. That's awesome. So before we go, I am curious. So you guys named your son Moses.
Yeah.
Right.
We're experimenting with,
So how did you decide on that name? And then did you think about how he's going to go through life with that name?
Well,
I think it's an awesome name. I think that is an absolutely killer name to name a boy. That boy is going to be a badass. It is not a wonder why that boy is big at 6.5 months or 7 months old, right? Like that boy is living up to the name.
I appreciate that. I think, first of all, the M is like an important part. So my husband's mom passed away and she was an M name. It was Marsha. So we had, this is what you have to do. You got to name after and honor someone. So we needed an M. And then somehow we were both like, Moses is the perfect name. And at first it was kind of a joke, like Moses Steinberg Gardenswartz, like what a hefty name. But
that's all the letters. You have all the letters.
Right. Triple letter score. I mean, we are winning Scrabble. So, and then we really liked Moses. And then the tricky part was the middle name, because I mean, I'm being honest, for like 3 months, I convinced my husband that we were going to name him Moses LeBron. I don't know why, but I was like, LeBron. And then I tried to put the connection, like LeBron's from Cleveland. He left. He came back. I don't know.
He
It was
parted the seas in Miami.
Right. I tried really hard and it didn't work. But for some reason that was like funny to me. And then I was like, no, we can't do a funny, silly goof name. So we went with Benjamin. And I feel like that's like a good option if he's like really sick of Moses. But I think he's gonna be an amazing Moses. And I don't know why more people they name him Moshe. And I was like, his name is Moses. He lives in Brooklyn.
Right.
He's a landlord.
Well, he's going to be a comedian. There's no question that kid's going to be a comedian whose name is going to be Moses Benjamin. That's his stage name, Moses Benjamin.
It's coming to the stage, Big Mo. You know,
Big Mo.
He'll do the black circuit. He'll be like, Big Mo. And like,
then this Jewish kid comes out. Like,
yeah, exactly. But I really wanted a boy so badly.
Right.
I have sisters and they have, there's so many women in my family that I was like, I need a boy really bad.
Well, you own the strongest name possible. I
really thank you. I appreciate that.
Than that.
I asked if we could name him Magic. And I was like, well, why not Magic Gardenswartz? You know?
Oh
and then
God.
I was told by my husband that you don't get the name Magic, you earn the name Magic.
Is he from LA? Is Noah from LA?
No, he's from Denver, but he's a huge sports fan. But I was like, you know what? If his nickname becomes Magic, fine, that'll be great. But I kind of like the idea that you have to earn the name Magic.
It's kind of true. Like you do have to earn that. But that would have been a killer name too. That's so.
Maybe if he has a brother, I don't know. We're already on to thinking about the next kids.
You have to make me like one promise. If he does go into comedy, you guys have to start telling him now he can't go up on stage and do one of the hey, I know, I'm Irish jokes. Like most Benjamin Gardenswartz.
I have a joke about how he flips like his legs over and then I get mad and I go, Jesus, Moses. And I just don't feel like it's inclusive enough. So I add Muhammad.
Well, you just got your next kids' names.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, the other kids, and it's so funny. Like to even think like more kids because he's the center of attention. He's super attention hungry. Like he wants all eyes on him. He wants to like crawl and bust through stuff. I wonder. And by the way, his shoulders are enormous. We all wish we had his shoulders. And I did have a C-section.
Out there.
I feel like anyone looking at my child's photos also is imagining like a shredded pussy.
Oh, I don't think it was I never even questioned that wasn't a C-section child.
Yeah, but I wanted like a fun granola water birth, but
I mean,
it was not in the cards.
I don't know. Yeah, it's certainly looking at the boy now. That would shred something.
Yeah, he's a lot of fun. I started to do videos where he's holding like a toy microphone and then I'll do like jokes in the background, but I haven't really. I feel like we have a couple more years till we can really capitalize on how to. I'm clearly way more of the stage mom, and his dad is like absolutely not. He cannot be on camera. We need to give him a childhood.
Yeah, it makes sense. So, what are you guys gonna do? Like, what's coming up? Obviously, a special. You have your podcast, which we didn't really get a chance to talk about, but
I have so I have a special on my podcast. We're actually writing together, and we write shows and movies together, and we have a good time doing that. A lot of it's like based off our life. Like we wrote a movie about our open relationship a couple years back, and we have a good time at home, but we're just surviving this pandemic. And I love the podcast is taking a lot of my time, and I'm interviewing every female comedian who's had a baby. And apparently there's a million of them. There's a lot. And I want to know their stories and it's funny because I feel like moms are judgmental and scared or nervous to talk about like what really happens. And female comedians are just ruthless. They'll just get into anything.
Have you had on any of the My Two Moms? Not them as a group. I don't know who that is, but like Judy Gold or Jess Kirsten or any of those guys?
They are on my list. I've been in contact, but we have not done an episode, and I cannot wait. So especially, well, Judy Gold is like goals because her son, like whatever she did, she did an amazing job because I think her son's like playing basketball on a scholarship or something.
Yeah, that's what I did. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So
I think you and Jess Kirsten would have that would be a fun one to listen to.
I mean, I can't wait. I've been contacting her. She's a very busy woman, and I will get her in the near future and ask her every question about being a mom. She seems like the most fun mom, but I do wonder if can be like a tough mom.
I think she probably is. Like,
you should get a Gina Brion.
Yeah, we've had Gina, and she's incredible. Yeah, and
Dude.
Me and her are like pretty close. Our kids are pretty close in age. She has the most hilarious birthing story. It was like an accident, and it was so funny.
All she gave us was her doctor sucked, and she hated him. And I remember that.
Yes, and I literally was like, tell me everything, and I want you to say his name. Say it. Say like I want details that everyone else is scared of. I'm like, tell me everything about your vagina. How does it feel?
That's what I do on first dates. I'm still single. It's weird. Anyways.
But yeah, it's been a blast to hear from comedians. They're crazy.
Yeah, amen to that.
The cum jokes go full circle. You know, all these comedians are, you know, they're talking about cum and this and that, and then it's, you know, the other side, which is everybody is pregnant.
Yep. So how similar are you and Noah?
We're not similar at all. I'm annoying and clingy, and I don't shut the hell up. I'm like, I like to think about intuition, and I like horoscopes.
And he's from Denver. That's it.
He's from Denver, and he just doesn't want to be bothered. He just wants to watch sports and please just leave me alone for a second, and that's it. But he's an incredible father. Like, he wakes up, feeds him, changes him, does the laundry, makes the food for him. Like, he's nailing it. I thought he was going to be pretty good, but he's like kind of showing me up. Sometimes I feel like he does more than me.
He doesn't pump his own breast milk on an airplane and drink it. That he doesn't do. That is true. If he does, I don't want to know about it.
He was very supportive on the breast milk journey. And I did like a lactation consultant on the internet. And again, it's like my boobs were on the internet and I was paying money. So
perfect.
He's just been so game he's very supportive, and he's like, yeah, let's have more. So I don't know what we're thinking. We're still living like comedians, you know, like, okay, we'll go back to Brooklyn. We'll swing by this city. Like, we don't have a home.
Right.
So I think it would be smart for us to get like a home.
So when are you guys coming back to New York City? Or are you just winging it?
Oh no, we're coming back February 1st, and he's working for Maisel. They've been on Zoom.
Right.
Doing a writer's room.
Oh, that's cool.
Yep.
Holy
yep.
shit.
Are they
it's
filming? Aren't they they're filming right now?
Yeah, they're filming. They're just getting it done. I mean, it's crazy to be I think Amazon, and they're just like, well, yeah, let's go, let's do it. So they have to do every test and every quarantine. I mean, the precautions are outrageous.
We're on it, and it's insane. And before we go, you guys met on a podcast, right?
Yeah, we met on Yamanika's podcast.
Oh, okay. Because we were on Ian's show, that came up, and I wanted to know which one it was, and now I know.
Yamanika's podcast. It's called Noah, Will You Marry Me? Which is crazy.
And look what happens.
And I guess he had a badass Jew vibe, like a Jewish guy with a bunch of tattoos. And I was like, I kind of like that.
Well, we answered all the questions. Not all.
No further questions.
Oh, no, there's going to be further. We'll have a follow-up for sure. But listen, thank you very much for spending the evening with us.
This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, this was
It was
cool.
cathartic.
Yeah. So we'll leave on good luck with the game this weekend. No, next week, 2 weekends, right?
2 weekends.
Thank you so much.
And stay healthy, you and your big baby and your big boy husband.
Yes.
And that's it. Nick, you got anything before we wrap?
That's it. Thank you so much for doing this, taking time out. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Can't wait to see this special, and
Yeah.
not sure how I'm going to process the drinking your own breast milk on an airplane thing, as I call
When
it.
in doubt, just stare at my tits.
And on that note,
You have a good night.
Thank you. Good
Good touch.
night.
bye, Esther. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.